All right. Greetings to everyone. Now, this time we are going to talk about, or I'll be talking about guidelines in teaching demonstration. All right. So, before going into the guidelines, I would like to emphasize approach, method, and strategy are the three different words that express a different concepts. Approach speaks of a theoretical or ideological concept. Method is actually a systematic and procedural and to be used by teachers that is used to actualize the approach. Strategy is referring to the techniques or the ways in how you deal with the topic to be delivered to the kind of students that you're into. And of course, these three are into referring into teaching, composition, or any topic that is related to teaching. These three are interconnected, but of course, we are going to identify what are the strategies or the ways that we are going to incorporate in order to teach the subject very well. Now, we have to identify as well as to what you have to identify as well as to what um, field are you going to teach in your teaching demonstration? Are you into literature or are you into composition? All right. Always remember that the teaching demonstration has a maximum of 20 minutes per student and 10 minutes for a questionnaire portion, a total of 30 minutes per student. Okay. So each one of you are going to present within 30 minutes. All right. You are also going to choose whether teaching of literature or teaching of composition. Make a lesson plan and use that lesson plan using the 4P as an institutional format. 4Ps is actually an institutional format in creating a a instructional material. Okay, for lesson plan, we have also a format, but following on I think the three effective, cognitive, and then the emotion of the according to the Bloom's taxonomy. But of course, we are just going to follow the format that I'm sending to you about the 4Ps. Okay, there are a lot of types or of a lesson plan according to these standards. But I would just like to emphasize to use the 4Ps. Okay. This time also the lesson plan must be submitted on or before the day of the teaching demonstration. And of course, treat your classmates as your students. Do not overthink, but anticipate objections. Okay? Just to make you feel comfortable with the piece or with the subject that you are into, teaching position or teaching literature, do not overthink, but rather anticipate their objections so that you could be able to prepare as to how we're going to handle the objections. All right. Next is be creative and use differentiated activities. It could be in a form of poster and jingle making, or it could be in KWL chart or simple recall or focus group discussion and many more. Okay. And then if we are dealing with literature, you can do character mapping, close reading, peer response editing, writer's workshop, or you could have vocabulary building, right? If you are into composition as well, you may do crossword puzzle, picture talk, or simple recall, right? And many more. There are a lot of activities that you are going to, or you can actually use them in literature and in teaching composition. But more or less, these things are very common into this field, literature and composition. Okay, moving forward, here is the copy of the criteria. So make sure that your instructional material are actually appropriate to the kind of field that you are into literature, into composition. The objectives are clear, meaning it provides a sense of what really the students would like to know and be able to do as a result of the lesson. Do not forget to have a focus or focus entry activity which means that there must be a focus activity that gets students' attention, age appropriate, related to lessons, or gets students ready to learn. Okay, when it terms or when it comes to contents, the content actually must be appropriate to grade and grade level, and of course the subject. It must be tied to objectives. Okay, next is closure. Closure effective, related to both content and objectives. Okay, we are going to see if there are closures that are attempted but not effectively tied to the content or objectives, or there is no real closure at all, or lesson just ended. Okay, so there must be a closure or a closure effect or a closing activity, or how did you end the activity, I mean your demonstration. All right. Next is the presentation style. We are going to look into the vocal quality and the eye-to-eye contact. Are these two appropriate? Obvious knowledge of the subject and enthusiasm for a topic, the eagerness to teach, the eagerness to facilitate the learning process, and so on. All right. Another thing is I'm giving you, or I gave you 30 minutes or 20 minutes for the presentation and 10 minutes for the QA portion, or a points for improvement part, and then objectives must be accomplished by all the students in time frame. So we are going to see if there is no time wasted, if there is no dead air in the presentation as well, and of course giving the students or your learners to acquire the subject matter. Okay, so make sure that at the end of the session your learners know of your content, basing from the objectives that you are into. Okay, so maybe that's all for this day, and kindly prepare for the teaching demonstration. Prepare yourselves. There is no harm in preparing, and there is this advantage when you are preparing your instructional material, your PowerPoint presentation, and of course yourself as a facilitator in learning, because the flow of the learning process is just so smooth, and then the learners probably could be able to learn something new out from your teaching demonstration. I would just like to ask everyone to be open-minded, and of course to be of the service of others, most especially when it comes to assisting your classmates um, in virtual conference or virtual teaching demonstration. All right. So whatever you are, wherever you are, and whoever you are with, always remember I'm Pink and Inay. Bye everyone. See you on the next video.